Mhm. All righty.
Recording.
And we are live to another episode of the ninth inning stretch. Can you believe already, man? We're already 1 full month into the bigs already. It seems like they played half a season already, but just 1 month. It's crazy. Episode six. Everybody, this is the Sports Mailman Joe, and I am actually so happy that we have another episode. It's been a little minute, everybody. I'm sorry. Been a little while. You know how it is. Baseball, it's not always fast. It's kind of slow, but I'm sorry. But I am here with my buddy, Professor Alex De La Cruz. What's going on, Alex?
Not much, man. Baseball season is here, man, and I was a little slow, but we're already 30 games in already.
Yeah, 30 games in, man, and it's quick. Like you miss a couple games here and there. It's like seems like everything's turned upside down. It seems
Yeah,
like earlier in the week your team's so doing so good, then later in the week it's like, what happened, man? The wheels fell off and everything.
yeah, that's how it is, though. That's how baseball is. One swing of the bat, one pitch, anything can happen.
Yeah, and it's crazy because earlier in the season, like the first week or so, everybody was on the torpedo bats. And now I'm not hearing as much as torpedo bats. I guess the pitching caught up to the hitting or vice
Yeah,
versa.
yeah, and we're both pretty harsh on the Marlins, and at the beginning of the year, and look at them now. They're top of their division right now, and they look
Yeah.
like they're playing some good ball right now.
No, yeah, for sure, man. And then it's the end of the weekend. Do you have anything you want to say, how your weekend was?
Yeah, man. I'm still battling my knee injury, so I'm going back and forth with it.
Mm.
But had some family over yesterday. My wife's birthday today, and we went out and stuff. First time. I haven't been to the river walk in a really long time,
Yeah.
and it was pretty nice. Walked around, ate a lot of food, stuffed. That San Antonio, San Antonio food around here, man. I get you big.
No, yeah, for sure, man. Well, where to Charles Barkley? But yeah, Fiesta's going on, man. So if y'all watch this back, I am from San Antonio, currently live in Elmendorf, and I know Alex, you probably know what Fiesta is as
Yeah.
well. And Fiesta's just one big old crazy party in San Antonio where everybody likes to have fun. Sometimes people have too much fun, and sometimes they don't know how to enjoy themselves. But it's a good time in the city of San Antonio. But let's move on to baseball while we're here. The bigs, MLB, that's why we love it. Uh, what I'm gonna ask you right now, man, is the NL West the way it is constructed right now? Like, if you're looking at it, three of these teams are already with 20 plus wins. Could it possibly be one of the greatest races in history of baseball when you're looking down at it?
Yeah, man. It's been a long time since it's been this competitive with
Yeah,
within the NL, but yet alone just one division
yeah.
is
Like,
crazy.
so check this out. Like the team who is in fourth place right now is Arizona. They're 18 and 16. They would be like in the second or possibly leading their division and majority of these divisions, and they're literally in fourth place because, of course, the Dodgers, the Padres, and then the San Francisco Giants, man, are continuing to excel, over exceed expectations right now. Those three teams right now are at 20 plus wins. Like it's crazy. And how do you feel about this race moving down? Like, do you feel like eventually you're going to see the Padres and the Dodgers just break away, or do you feel like the Padres and the Diamondbacks are going to stay fighting throughout this season?
I know you and Cody were really strong on the Diamondbacks this year.
Mhm.
I really wasn't, but I like watching them play, man, and of course, whenever they played the Cubs, and then who else did they play? They played the Yankees. I was
Yeah,
watching that series, and
yeah. Don't remind
dude,
me.
man, they compete and they could hit like bat for bat, dude. I'm like, God damn. I remember telling you a couple weeks ago, I was more scared of the Diamondbacks batting order than the Padres. I feel like if it's one team that's gonna probably slip, it might be San Francisco because yet again, they're catching off surprise, but
Yeah,
for sure, I was totally wrong with the Diamondbacks. Them being one game over 500 right now, I don't think they're playing for what they're. what their
record is. Yeah,
what the record is, because I mean they've been playing some tough teams, and man, that team could make a run, and that's one of those teams where like you do not want to play in the postseason if they keep playing like this, and it's usually like they're like the way they are, they'll probably be a lower seed, so they'll play like a higher seed, and you know how baseball is, man. You could one swing of the bat, one pitch, and the series could change within minutes or seconds, and yeah, I think the Diamondbacks is one team that it's going to hang around for good ways.
yeah, no, for sure. But what I was gonna say is, we're gonna stay in this division. The cream of the crop, is what everybody likes to say, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. One of their key things that were coming into the season was pitching. Unfortunately, they did lose Blake Snell earlier, and then now they lost Glass now. So two of their top end starters are now going to be on the IL at least between a month or two. And of course, they don't have Blake Trinan again. Do you think moving forward, this is going to be hurtful for them with their pitching staff getting hurt so early?
Yeah, because most of their games this year, when they do struggle, it's not because of their bats. It's usually their pitching, and they're relying so much in their starting pitching right now.
Mm-hmm.
What's that young? I can't pronounce his name. Yoshi Akamoto or
That Yamamoto, that's the smaller one. Or are you talking about Roki Sasaki?
Is it Roki Sasaki his first year?
Yeah, the rookie technically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's been struggling. I think yesterday or the day before he got his first win. He's gonna have to step up for sure. I know they saying Kershaw might be coming back pretty soon. He's getting his reps in. So yeah, especially in that division, like we said, you didn't one injury away, and the division could flip on its head.
Yeah, because right now when I'm looking at it, the standings, they're barely above the Padres right now. And let me look at it. They're only a game ahead of the Padres right now, and the Padres have been back and forth at their heels all season. And two, the Giants are only 2 games behind as well. So it's not like they can take their foot off the gas. They need to continue to try to stretch this lead and stuff like that, because who knows if Shohei is even going to pitch at all this season, because he hasn't pitched in over a year and a half. I know they were saying possibly, beginning of spring training that he was going to pitch. Then they pushed him back. They've been pushing him back. So who knows if he ever gets back on that mound again. And I don't know if they want to risk him with his bat and the way he is on the base path, risking him getting hurt.
Yeah, I'd rather use him on just being a tool player. I would not try to chance it with him on the mound. But like I said, their pitching staff is deep. But now, like we said, one injury and it could be like that could potentially like ruin their year, and that sucks, especially this year because that division is competitive, man.
Yeah, like we didn't think, like we felt like the Padres were going to take a step back with the people they lost in this offseason, but for them to still be competing, like that's really key and like really good on their roster. Tatis has picked it up. Jackson Merrill has picked it up. So the Dodgers, I wouldn't say they're in trouble. Like I'm not going to say they're not going to miss the playoffs by any means. I feel like they still have enough in the tank. But, they can't afford to, take a slump right now, especially with that division.
Yeah,
but moving on from one juggernaut team to another, the New York Yankees, man, like I don't know what's going on with their pitching staff as well. A bunch of injuries, and then they just lost Jazz Chisholm as well. So he's going to be gone for possibly 4 to 6 weeks with an oblique injury. And luckily enough, Mr. Aaron Judge is having Herculean-like numbers. Though he's been almost triple crown-like, I think. And when I'm looking at it, I think he's tied with first or right, at second with all major categories with batting and stuff. So he's doing it all for New York right now, and I'm so happy that he is, because if not, who knows where this team will be at right now.
Yeah, that division also was like, I think should have been a 3-headed race because of Baltimore, but Baltimore hasn't been meeting expectations, especially now that they did lose pitching and it's showing. So um, for sure, but the Red Sox, they're right on the Yankees coattail. So uh, yeah, man, the Yankees have been in one of them slumps, where they win a game, but then they lose, they turn around and lose to a team that shouldn't even be in the same ballpark with them.
Yeah, luckily too, Max Fried is looking like Randy Johnson out there, 2001 esque the way he's been pitching. Luckily, we signed that guy because of course Cole did go down early in the season, so I'm so happy he's a Yankee because no Schmidt, no Clark. I mean Schmidt, of course, the same guy. My bad. No Gill, and then no Cole. That's three top end starters right now, and you're trying to piece everything together. Hopefully, they make a move later down the line. But Rodon and Freed luckily have weathered the storm. But the one thing I'm going to ask you, what's going on with Devin Williams, man?
Man, he was one of the guys. Like he came in, and you're like, it's game, bro. There's
Yeah,
no way. And he played in Milwaukee, so I saw a lot of him
yeah.
for sure. And I man, I I knew whenever he went in, it was like, man, it's pretty much a done deal. But he goes to New York, and I don't know if the lights are too bright or
Yeah.
the nightlife is too bright over there, because Milwaukee, they ain't nothing to do with Milwaukee. New York City, there's a whole different ball game. There's other celebs, but who knows, right? Because it's baseball, so 162 games. Does he even have time to go out, or who knows, man? That's Devin Williams has been been shitting the bed for sure.
No, yeah, for sure. And one thing I was going to ask you, why is it that more times than not, big time free agents that go over there, people who get traded over there, tend to struggle? It's very rare you see a guy who has been talked about very highly and just continues to produce. I feel like A Rod, even though he struggled there in New York, was probably the last guy that came in that was really highly touted and to do good numbers because, you know, Giancarlo Stanton, numerous amount of pitchers that came in, struggled as well. So what is it, being a Yankee? Like, is it just the fans? Is it just knowing that you have that pinstripes on you? Like, why is it like it's struggling for some players?
It can be the pinstripes, man. That we all know that wearing the Yankees uniform, uh, I would call it like basketball, like wearing a Laker uniform.
Yeah,
It's iconic, man. Growing as far as us growing up, man, we grew up watching the Yankees and them being must see TV for
yeah,
sure. And I'm pretty sure these guys, watching they watched the Yankees growing up. I don't I don't know, man. Cody Bellinger, he was another guy that was supposed to come up
yeah.
with promise. He had a down year his last year, but like was it a year before that? He was, I think, third or fourth in MVP.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I remember Cody when he was a rookie or the year after, like his second year with the Dodgers, and he blew up. And then after that, he was never really the same. Like, but I'm just like Juan Soto, he came in, even though he left us that one season, he was magnificent. Like, it's very rare a guy comes in. Like, I feel like Juan Soto, CC Sabathia,
CC.
uh, and A Rod, and then Teixeira to an extent, like he played his part. But a lot of these other guys that have came in years past, did not do justice to the pinstripes.
What would you say about Jazz? He's coming in.
He came in like what I'm talking about is like big time free agents or like big time like Jazz. Like, is he gonna be your number one guy or number two guy? Probably not. But he's a good like third or fourth option, like especially in the batting order. Like, I think about guys like A Rod, guys like Aaron Judge. Like if you think about getting these key guys like a Fernando Tatis, guys like that within that nature. Like, those are the guys. Like, if the Yankees get, they struggle.
Wasn't Marcus supposed to be y'all's ace the year he went to New York?
Strowman, no.
Strowman?
Yeah, no.
Because he was pretty good whenever. I mean, I love Strowman whenever he played for the Cubs. I
Yeah,
mean,
like
he was our ace. He did pretty good.
yeah, with Strowman, like when he came in, like I think he's been struggling too because they
Yeah,
wanted him to go to the bullpen. He's like, no, and he's struggling too. But it's just those guys come in and they should know their role in a sense. Like you're not going to be the star. You're going to fit into the team aspect. Like you know who the stars are, and I guess it's just really hard, when you're in a big time market and you're expecting to be that guy, expecting to be Mariano Rivera esque. And I guess, it's very hard because Luke Weaver, lightning in the bottle, they caught last year with him. And I was kind of like not so much upset. I felt bad for him because the way he pitched down the stretch, I felt like he earned the right to be the closer next season.
yeah.
And then it was like, oh wait, bro, we'll just move you to the eighth inning because we're bringing in Devin Williams. So just hold on real quick because him down the stretch, man. Because before the bullpen was horrendous. Uh, Holmes was been horrible the past year and a half or so. So he took over for him, and so I was like, dude, like this dude's ginormous the way he pitches and stuff. Like balls of steel, and you're not gonna continue to ride that wave. Like him now, he's back to being the closer, which I'm glad. Hopefully, Devin Williams ends up becoming the perfect 8 inning guy set up to Luke Weaver. That'll be a good 1-2 punch. But it was almost like a slap in the face to me seeing Luke Weaver get moved down because I'm a Yankees fan, so I watch a lot of the games more times than not, and just seeing him during this postseason run last season, the way he was like came in to inning or two, 6-7 outs, and like they asked so much of him, and then they just delegated him to like second fiddle.
I thought honestly, was it Liner Jr. was gonna be a setup guy,
Yeah,
and I mean we've seen a little bit of him this year. I honestly thought that was the road that they were gonna go.
yeah,
But I guess they, I don't know what it's going to be because I know they're trying to get Williams going,
mhm.
and uh, the Yankees are running it real thin ice if they keep on going this way,
Yeah,
and then Judge don't make the postseason this year, then it's gonna be some talks big time. Because, like I said, the Red Sox are still. I still feel like they could play and
yeah,
really compete in that division. In man, the Mariners are playing good ball. The
yeah,
Tigers are not playing good ball.
yeah. They
You know,
turned it around because they were
yeah.
struggling out the gate.
So we can only see now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. So hopefully, those two teams get it together because I know MLB probably hopes and prays that the Dodgers and Yankees meet again in the World Series, possibly.
Man, I was talking to last year whenever the World Series happened, and like Jose and them in our group chat.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not real big baseball guys, but they tuned in because it was
yeah.
LA and New York. I'm like, man, y'all don't understand how big this is right now.
No,
It's
yeah.
a
It's
huge
to
World
the
Series.
extent of like Lakers and Celtics
It's the
in
Lakers and
the,
Celtics.
in basketball. Football. I guess possibly like even though I'm gonna sound like a homer, possibly like right now the Cowboys and possibly the Chiefs if that were to happen.
Maybe Cowboys and in the 90s, I want to say maybe because you can have as Cowboys and 49ers NFC Championship game back in the day.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like in the Super Bowl, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like I'm saying,
yeah,
because you have Pat Mahomes, the Chiefs are technically the biggest team
yeah.
right now, and then the Cowboys are just the,
America's
the
team.
mega giant, you know what I mean? And I'm almost thinking into like that, hopefully so, but I'm gonna keep it on the same wavelength almost. I'm gonna talk about Rob Manfred. Should he finally lift the ban on Pete Rose? Unfortunately, he did pass away not that long ago, but the all-time leadingest hit guy in all of baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and unfortunately, he was betting on games at that time. That was a no-no. But now, you can bet on anything: stolen bases, numerous amount of hits, strikeouts, vice versa. And why isn't the ban lifted? Why wasn't it like lifted like years ago? Whenever they started betting in baseball.
Man, yeah, Pete Rose is a legend, man. He should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. Uh, should it be? I feel like if they do put him in now, I feel like he's doing it pettily now. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
yeah.
And if they are gonna like put him in there, then they have to have like a good like. Don't do it pettily because I feel like that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm for sure not gonna like. That's disrespect, honestly.
So would you say this? I'm going to put this out there. If they were to do that, lift the ban, and finally put him in there, should he be the only guy for this upcoming season to be in the Hall of Fame? Nobody else, just him by himself.
Yeah, because you would be celebrating him, but
Yeah.
also kind of. Um, I wouldn't say like a circus show, would you?
Yeah. No,
Kind
I
of.
just think that MLB needs to continue to ride this wave of like good press and the way everything's been going over the past year or two, and kind of make Pete Rose out into like a hero almost now because now sports betting's everywhere, and it's like back then, of course, he never betted on his own team, which I don't think, but now everybody you can bet anywhere, like you can even bet in the stadiums now. So it's just like, why hasn't it changed, and why is it now? It's still taking this long. Why is Rob Manfred like kind of dragging his feet? Because especially when Pete passed away, I felt like rumblings were happening of possibly him going into the Hall of Fame, but it never came together. And it's just upsetting to me that he's passed away now, and he can never like get into the Hall of Fame on his own will.
Yeah, I don't even think Sammy's in it either.
Yeah, no, Sammy's not in there, but
Yeah, and I know one of the key reasons why Sammy did kind of come out and said like, "Hey, I messed up." He wanted to get back into he wanted to get back into baseball.
yeah,
Uh, During spring training, he was in the dugouts with the Cubs, and it was kind of like a door to open for him to get into the Hall of Fame
yeah,
because they're saying he's making steps to get into it. Because
yeah,
at that time, Pete Rose had already passed, so
yeah.
I guess he wants to be here. He don't want to get that Pete Rose
Yeah,
treatment.
treatment. Yeah. Well, he don't even look the same, man. He looks like a white woman
Yeah,
now.
yeah, but I don't know, man. Like I think for any baseball fan, everybody that's a baseball fan knows Pete Rose is a Hall of Famer.
No, yeah, for sure, man. Because he's probably the greatest hitter of all time. I know some people do try to throw an Ichiro in there. Possibly in all of baseball, Ichiro might be like a good comparison, possibly. But Pete Rose, Mr. Hustle, the way he would run around that base path with like reckless abandonment, you can't compare him to anybody else, man.
Yeah, yeah, man. It sucks though. He was one of the guys. He was on MLB Network all the time, and
Yeah, like I,
always
I would
showed.
love whenever he would come on the Fox and be with the Fox guys and be with like Alex Rodriguez and talking about like being in a slump and just saying
Getting
the
up.
way he would try to like move up in the plate, move back in the plate, choke up on the bat, move down on the bat, and he was just like giving people like key information, man, on how he continued to hit. And like it's crazy to me like the way he was a hitter, like batting average was crazy, and how now like batting averages aren't as good as back with him, and it's just different. Like it's crazy. Like it's either you're striking out or hitting home runs now. Like you don't really care to see people hit for average because you want to see home runs and getting runs batted in.
And what's crazy is that the people that he's showing this to is like
Like
we'll call like crazy A-Rod, Frank,
yeah,
like
like
Frank
Poppy,
Thomas.
Frank
Yeah,
Thomas.
Frank Thomas, Big Poppy, showing them how to approach the plate, and they would be keying, listening to him, and they're taking in his advice. That and
Yeah,
that alone should tell you something how Pete Rose was.
no, yeah, for sure, man. RIP to Pete Rose, man. Arguably one of the greatest baseball players of all time. RP, hopefully he gets in. But what I was going to move on to next is that the City Connect jerseys, man. Are you a fan of them, or should you think that it should stay like in basketball? You know how they have these City Connect jerseys.
Man, I like the City Connects. I know I'm an old school baseball guy, but the City Connects look pretty damn cool. Even the ones from last year. There's some like I do like. Is it the Baltimore City Connects from I think it
Mhm.
was like last year? The all black ones. They were really I like those. Those were pretty tight. Um, the the Rockies. I didn't like their was it the one
Yeah,
that green ones?
yeah, because some of them look weird. Like it doesn't even go with this, with the the colorways of stuff like
Yeah,
that. So it's just weird to me how where do you get these colorways from? So where do you think that like it matches? But I guess people like them. It's interesting to the game. And I was the reason why I brought it up is because I know you are a Cubs fan. I don't know if you're a Bulls fan or not, but how did you feel about Reinsdorf? He does own the White Sox, and he's trying to find any which way to move some money, I guess. And he pretty much made a City Connect jersey of the Bulls for the White Sox.
that was actually that was pretty good. I mean, there's if you go to the Chicago Swamp Meet somewhere
Yeah,
there, yeah, they already have those at the Swamp Meet from years before. Like people just made them on their own,
yeah,
and people were ready for these. Like, hey, these need to come up for the fucking White Sox. I'm not a big White Sox fan, but those were pretty fire, man, because they're both from the South Side. The Bulls are South Side, and White Sox are South Side, and yeah, those jerseys were pretty tight. I actually like the other ones too. The ones from last year, the ones that
yeah.
just say
The
South Side.
South side with the pinstripe down the white
Yeah,
pinstripes. Yeah, no,
those are
those are pretty good.
yeah, I like those. But if I have to choose, I would choose the black ones for sure. Those are really nice. The ones that the only reason why I like the Bulls Connect one was with the sock on
Yeah, because
the
it has a sock on the side. Yeah, so that
yeah,
looks cool.
it looked pretty cool. Um, Chicago, the Cubs, their City Connects this year they look fire. They were their old school jerseys with the City Connect, so it
Yeah,
looks really cool.
yeah. I was wondering what, if anything, would happen with the Yankees if they would ever get a City Connect jersey, because I know it's really Hall of Fame s the way their jerseys are, the pinstripes and then the gray roadies. Uh, would they ever get a City Connect? Hopefully not. I don't know how people would fare
I
with
don't
it,
think they
because I know a lot of people were mad that they even got like logos on their side of their jerseys. I forgot it. I guess it was like a law firm, and a bunch of people were mad about that because there is like a long-standing tradition, especially like Yankee fans, real Yankee fans. If you see a Yankees jersey out in the wild and you see it with the last name on it, people will clown on you. So it's just
yeah.
like hopefully they continue to keep tradition alive with jerseys, with certain jerseys. I know the Red Sox. I'm kind of surprised the way their jerseys have been like looked at, like revered, and like such a high standard. How they have like a green jersey now, they have the Boston Marathon Connect jersey. Certain teams I feel like you should just keep where you're at. Like
What about the Mets? You like the Mets?
with that gray NYC, like it was
Yeah,
kind of weird looking, but
they have
it,
this. They have the city. What like the is it in the background? It looks pretty cool on the
yeah.
hat.
Let me look at it. Let me see.
But you have to pay. You really have to look at it because it's like it's blended in with the same color as the cap.
Oh, their hat.
Yeah,
Let me see.
I'm surprised they didn't put an apple on it because it's called. I mean, it's the big apple.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about from last year. It
Yeah,
showed like the Brooklyn Bridge underneath
yeah.
the NY. Okay, I see it now. Yeah, it's just I see what MLB is trying to do. NBA, they try to sell any kind of stuff they can. Past couple years they've implemented City Connect jerseys. So I was just wanting to see if you were a fan of it, or if you were like, what, like kind of keep it how it is, because the Cubs, is a historical franchise. So I was just wondering how you felt.
Yeah. It's I like the I actually really like the old school jerseys from. I don't like the gray jerseys that the ones that they use, but the
Yeah.
blue ones are pretty tight. The blue with the blue pinstripes tradition, those are nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big fan of baseball jerseys itself. Like
Yeah.
if I see one I like, I'll buy it.
Yeah,
Uh,
because I even have a throwback Barry Bonds Pirates jersey. So it's the pull over the white with the Pirates over on the back, the Mitchell and S throwback ones. So
Yeah.
moving on, man. I'm gonna ask you, what is the key to your Cubs? I do want to talk about your Cubs. I don't want to leave them out. I've been talking about the Dodgers and the Yankees so much. Is it more PCA or is it Kyle Tucker?
It's a little of both. Kyle Tucker is more the anchor,
Hmm.
and PCA is the spark.
Yeah,
Uh, PCA, he had a down year at the plate.
yeah,
I wasn't really expecting him to have a lot of pop this year. I was like, well, he's probably going to be like a Nico guy. He'll get you a couple 60 RBIs, 5 home runs, but be mostly guy on the base pad, and then he'll get you your defense. But um, he's been in the lab over the summer, and
yeah. You
man,
can
I
see
mean,
the improvement, and hopefully it leads possibly to an All Star game berth for him, possibly.
yeah, I think right now he's like second in center as far as the center field, um, like with the home runs and
Yeah,
defensive stats and all that. Yeah, he's been a huge spark in the New York Mets. I was so mad whenever we traded for him. I
yeah.
remember because we had to let go of Javi. Javi was the guy in Chicago. One of the big reasons why they won the World Series.
Hey, and he's having a resurgence now in center field.
Dude, I'm loving that, dude. It's finally like I felt
It,
so bad for him, man.
Yeah, like the way he was at the plate over the years and stuff like that, shortstop, like he kind of let his talent overshadow how he is, like his antics and stuff. And I'm glad, he's getting a second chance, with the Tigers, and it's almost he's one of the driving forces why the Tigers are now turning it back around right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like whenever he went to center field, I'm like, okay, this is where he has to play now because I think
Yeah,
they got Sweden now at shortstop there.
yeah,
He wasn't gonna start over him, and and whenever I saw him at like his at bats, I'm like, they're gonna have to put him in the lineup some way or another.
yeah,
And Javier Baez is one of the guys that could play pretty much anywhere.
yeah. Well, he's getting paid all that money, so it's
Yeah,
like as an MLB franchise, I know they don't want to let that money just get eaten away. So
but going back to PCA and Javi Baez, I mean, I was pretty upset whenever we let him go,
yeah,
and then whenever my little brother, he's a big like he knows like the prospects pretty good. He's like,
yeah.
hey, PCA, he's gonna be one of the guys. I'm like, this little guy, 115 pounds,
Yeah, he's
level
grown into
52.
himself finally.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. My brother's name. Like, there's no way, not this guy right here. He's like, trust me, he's one of them guys. He came up to the majors, and then my brother's like, man, you gotta watch him play. And then he was on the base pad. I was like, man, this guy can fly, but he just couldn't hit. And then he was struggling, but then they would send him back down to the minors, and he was crushing it there. I was like, well, he needs to improve in the majors now, and he crazy year this year. And the thing is now we gotta sign both of these cats.
Yeah.
We got-
Yeah. So with PCA and Tucker, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how much money Tucker gets because the way Juan Soto got paid, I don't think he's worth 750 plus billion. But where would you be okay with the Cubs paying Tucker at?
oh man, this is tough because we haven't had a hitter like this in a long time. So I might over exaggerate on
Yeah.
giving this guy a payday because ever since we've had a guy like Chris Bryan or Rizzo at the plate,
Yeah.
um, we've been struggling to find somebody. Shit, our probably our best hitter since then was probably Cody Bellinger one year, and that's saying something. So yeah, man, I know for sure he's gonna want Guerrero Jr. money.
Yeah. What did he get? Like 550?
Yeah, and it's gonna be up there. And I know 3 weeks ago, PCA just denied the Cubs offer. I think they were offering 70 million. and he did not. He
So 70 for the whole contract.
I think it was 70 with I don't know how many years,
Yeah, because
but I know they. I
that's
mean,
lowballing by a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. So I don't know. It could have been 70 per year. I'm not too sure.
Oh, that then I'll be like, nah, man, like you ain't worth 70 million. Like
But
for the
he denied the offer. So
yeah
um, yeah, we're gonna have to lock these two guys up. I know
yeah
if they don't. I know for sure if they don't lock up Kyle Tucker, Cub fans are gonna fucking
they're gonna
riot the
riot.
streets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because if I'm not mistaken, he's a free agent after the season, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, man, hopefully you don't happen what Juan Soto did to the Yankees, man. Hopefully y'all don't make a big run and then he destroys y'all.
What did Juan Soto say about the city though? Did he? Because Kyle Tucker's saying like, I'm trying to read him, and I'm trying to remember if Juan Soto was like, oh, I like New York. I don't want to leave.
Well, he likes the ambiance of New York because he's Dominican, if I'm not mistaken, or Cuban. I can't remember. So like he wanted to stay on the East Coast because it's closer to home. That's why a lot of people were like, "Oh, he's gonna go to the Dodgers or he's gonna go to these West Coast teams." I'm like, "No, he's gonna stay on the East Coast because it's closer for him to go back home." And I just think that he didn't want like I was kind of just shocked altogether with Juan Soto leaving. Maybe he thought he's a bigger prospect, than Aaron Judge. In my mind, Aaron Judge, but besides Otani, is 1A, 1B in baseball. Soto, don't get me wrong, in baseball wise, he's one of the top 10 best players in the game right now. When you're talking about mega stars, I feel like Judge is like on another level. And
Yeah,
I thought he thought to himself, like, I'm bigger than Lindor in a sense, like outside of baseball, but I'm not bigger than Judge, so I can't stay here and be in his shadow, even
I
if I'm
can't
out
be.
playing him.
I can't be 1B.
Yeah,
He wants to be 1A. I feel it. Um, yeah, because I mean, like, I'm like, I mean, Kyle's saying he likes Chicago. I don't know.
yeah. Hopefully, because I think Scott Boras is his agent, and you
Yeah,
know how Scott Boras is the agent. You don't want to have your one of your best players being a Scott Boras agent because look what happened with Chris Bryant. He's over there in Denver right now.
yeah. Man, poor Chris Bryant.
Yeah, unfortunately, man. But hey, this is the ninth inning stretch. So what we like to do at the very end of every show is give us our top fives. I don't know if you had a top five lined up, Alex.
Yeah,
But
I got one.
okay. So if you can give it to me, man, from 5 to 1.
Sorry, let me pull up my. Yeah, it was
And
actually pretty tough, man. But at number 5, we talked about Javier Baez being the leading force there in Detroit. Right now, I feel like Detroit is playing some good baseball.
yeah,
Um, they're knocking out teams that they're supposed to be knocking out, and I want to say they beat the Stros in a pretty tense games a couple weeks ago.
yeah. Look, I can look them up right now. Detroit, they are 22-13 right now, and they're leading the division right now by a game and a half. Cleveland is on their tails, but Detroit has turned it around. And then recently they just beat up on the Angels 2 out of 3. I mean 3 out of 4, and they beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, and then at number 4, uh, I got the New York Mets. They haven't been playing some great teams yet, but they are. I mean, they were the first team to get to 20 wins this year.
Yeah,
Uh, Soto still needs to show what that contract's worth. But as
yeah.
a team, I think that as a team they're playing pretty solid baseball.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
and number 3 uh, is probably one of the one of the teams that go toe to toe with you and they'll probably fight you is the San Diego Padres.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that team is pretty solid, man. And then the number 2, I got to be my homer, man. The Chicago Cubs having the one of the toughest schedules at the beginning of the year, and still being over 500.
And is that why you have them so high? Is that their schedule?
Their schedule, yeah, I feel like their schedule. and then the way they're beating teams, is out slugging them, and
Yeah,
that hasn't been the Cubs formula in over years, a lot of
yeah,
years.
especially when they beat up on the Dodgers. I bet
Oh
you're so
man,
happy.
yeah, dude, that was one of the high moments of this young year, and then I still feel like the Dodgers. I mean, they've got the Cubs have beaten them up pretty bad the past couple games, but
Yeah.
the Dodgers are still one of the teams that you gotta stack up against
Yeah.
because their bats are still live.
So with the Cubs, what are y'all gonna do as y'all's number two in y'all's rotation? Because I know Steele is out for the year. Who's currently y'all's number two right now?
Right now, Jameson Taillon has been actually playing pretty. I've been pitching pretty damn well. Shota just went out today for
Oh,
the
damn.
for the second straight start of with cramping.
Yeah.
So he might be out for maybe a couple weeks. They're saying maybe 1 or 2 weeks. They're probably going to miss a start.
Yeah.
But Ben Brown has been so and so. One day, you know, he could give you six scoreless innings, and the next game he give you 6 hits. Give up 6 hits in the first inning. We for sure right now, if Shota comes back, we're gonna need a number three because Jameson has been playing pretty damn well.
Yeah.
Matthew Boyd has actually been pitching pretty well also. I'm still waiting to see if Javier Assad comes back and pitches for the Cubs because I know right now he's still kind of hurt. And last time we all saw Assad was come alive was that Mets whenever he played for Team Mexico,
Yeah.
he was number I think he was the number 2 there.
Yeah.
And then the next year, you know, he played pretty well for the Cubs. So I'm waiting for him to come back.
So with that, let me ask you this: would you trade a guy like Nico Horner in a package possibly to get a top end starter possibly?
Uh, if you're gonna, I wouldn't do a rental. If you know
Yeah.
what I mean. I would
Well,
not.
what if you got a guy who, after the not this upcoming season, but the season after that?
It's tough, man. I know we got a couple guys in the minors right now that's been playing good baseball, so I'd see what because Nico's name was going around pretty heavily during the offseason
Yeah.
to trade,
Yeah, so,
and
that's why I brought him up because I looked at some other guys. I looked at Nicky Lopez possibly, but I don't think he would get garner as much uh, back in return where you can get a top end starter for Nico because he just needs to be able to play on the diamond, and I feel like he will be a formidable force. It's very hard for him to get on that field right now.
um, I don't know, man. It's tough. I like a guy that like Nico and Swanson are a pretty good duo up the middle. Uh, I don't know, man. It's tough. You put me in a tough situation right there because I'm a big Nico fan. I have his jersey. I
Yeah, no,
was,
I was just because like right now the way they've been playing out of their minds right now. I feel like they're overplaying what their roster is because the pitching down the line, you're going to need top end pitching to compete with some of these other teams that are in the top five. And that's one way to do it because you have Kyle Tucker, you got PCA, you got some other guys in that lineup, that can do what it's need to. And if you can trade away a piece in Nico because you're probably not going to pay him down the line, why
yeah,
not try to get somebody that's going to be able to help your team go down to a further path in the postseason?
yeah. I know Matt Shaw's name's been going around, but I do not want to trade him because
Yeah.
he's a
Well,
top five.
he's young. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
well, don't trade away your
yeah.
future prospect. Maybe trade away Nico Horner, a guy who he's been on the field, sometime throughout the past couple seasons. You kind of know what you get out of him. You don't want to trade away a guy like Bush or Shaw. I mean, and you lose a perennial all star.
Yeah, because I was kind of on the fence whenever they were telling him or they were saying that trade him and then bring some arms in,
Yeah,
and then maybe in a couple games, Cam Smith could come in and play second base. But then that they all went away whenever we traded for Kyle
yeah.
Tucker and Cam Smith went to Houston. So
Yeah,
that's what I thought that his position was going to be safe. Like, oh, Nico might stay around then, but then
yeah,
like pitching has been, especially the bullpen. Bullpen's been absolutely garbage.
yeah,
You
no,
have
for
to trade
sure.
a guy like that.
Yeah.
Man, it'll be tough.
But before I give you my top five, I'm gonna ask you this: how do you feel about the new Captain America, Mister Aaron Judge, the captain for the World Baseball Classic of Team USA in 2026?
Yeah, it was long overdue. I think.
Yeah,
I understand that you want Mike Trout to be the main guy there because he was. I think he was Mr. Team USA for a while now.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I'll tell you what. Aaron Judge is gonna have to. He's put in a position where now I feel like other countries has definitely caught up to Team USA.
oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think that's I think that's gonna be a good deal though because a lot of people, a lot of people in the MLB really respect Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
So him being the captain and for Team USA is a good deal. I know they got David Rossi too as
yeah,
one of their coaches
yeah.
for.
What I was gonna ask you on that: do you feel like they should get an actual, manager, like general, like a skipper, not Mark DeRosa? Like I know he's coached in the past with the WBC, but should they get an actual, manager? Like what I'm trying to think, what managers in the MLB right now would warrant like Godfather status? Like trying to think,
What's his name from the one from
or
the
like
Rangers?
Bochy from the Rangers,
Yeah,
possibly.
Bochy.
Like I was
Yeah,
kind of surprised, like they don't get like a guy like Bruce Bochy or like Dusty Baker when he was in the bigs a couple seasons ago. Like I was kind of surprised it was Mark DeRosa, a guy who like he commentates and does stuff on MLB Network. I was like, come on, really? Like we're
I
baseball.
think they do that though because they are going to be managing teams throughout the year,
Yeah,
and they don't want like no mix up like another player gets hurt for their team for whenever play for Team USA
yeah.
because of the manager.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
yeah,
I do know that when it comes to selection for Team USA, uh, that whole team, the whole coaching staff of Team USA does their due diligence also.
yeah,
There, even though there's no players right there, they do get the young. I think it's like U17
yeah,
practicing, and then they're it's like ran like an MLB team pretty
yeah.
much. Even though their players are not there, they do their due diligence. So I don't know. It's 50-50 for me. I understand why they don't do it, but it would be pretty cool. Like
Yeah.
seeing Bochy like coach for them would
Or
be.
or even like Dusty Baker. I know he's retired, but that would probably be pretty cool. You get a guy like that
Yeah,
managing. I feel like that would be okay. Like, oh, right, bro, just manage during the World Baseball Classic, like kind of like what uh, Team USA for basketball would do. The Krzyzewski was the coach for years, and he was coaching college. Even though that's a different sport, still the same thing.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but yeah, it would be cool seeing Dusty coach again.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you my top five. So at number five, I have the Detroit Tigers. At number four, I do have your Cubs at four. I was kind of going back and forth with this third team, the New York Mets at three. At number two, I have the San Diego Padres, and then number one, of course, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Man, until they like take a big time slump, they're probably going to be slated in number one through three throughout the whole season.
I tell you what, you think if the Padres get a 2 game lead, you think people will start talking?
Yeah, like the thing with that is that the Padres are almost looked like as a little brother,
Yeah,
and it's just to me they can go toe to toe with the Dodgers, but it's just the Dodgers have a little bit more firepower, but the Padres won't back down from them by any means.
oh heck, dude, that series was
Yeah,
all
if they just knew that it was the best out of seven, if I'm not mistaken, instead of thinking it's the best out of five, like they would have won it, but then they took the foot off the gas. I don't know why.
they're actually coming. I think they're coming up. The Padres and the Dodgers Let me look
Yeah,
at
let me
those.
check it out.
I know because I at the beginning of the year I was like, man, let me see when they play. They
Well,
played this
I know
season.
the Padres are playing the Yankees come Monday. So tomorrow on MLB Network. So that's a big time game. But let me look to see when they possibly play the Dodgers. No, so they don't play them in May. They play them in June.
Damn.
Yeah, so middle, like kind of towards the beginning of June, like June 9th through the 11th, and then they play them later again, like home and away stuff. So within a week or two apart, they play each other. But I feel like our list, like, did you have the Padres in there?
Yeah, I had the Padres.
Okay, so our lists for the most part are the same. So just a little things here and there because we both have Detroit at 5, both have the Dodgers at 1, and then we just have between 2 to 3, I mean 2 to 4, like just difference of opinions on that. But I feel like for the most part it's the same thing. Like if you were saying like some other random team, I would make like a big more uproar with that.
Yeah, I was looking at the Dodgers schedule. I know the Diamondbacks are coming up on their schedule twice this month,
Yeah,
so that's gonna be big. The Cubs are actually playing the Mets at the end of the week. That's gonna be a good series.
yeah, that's probably gonna be the series of the week. Yeah, because they do play the Dodgers play the Diamondbacks later this week. So yeah, I'm like those are going to be two of the biggest series of this upcoming week. So moving on, I am going to start implementing, you know, we like what games we want to look forward towards this upcoming week. Of course, this week, it's kind of I am running the show now. Shout out Milton, shout out Jose. They gave me the login credentials now, so I now have the keys to the ninth
Yeah,
inning stretch. So we
got the
we're
keys to Bugatti now.
yeah, so now I can we can have a legit schedule, not just makeshift here and there. So we are gonna lock down a certain time on Sundays, and we will be going live moving forward, everybody. So bear with us. Cody should be back next week. I know he's having the time of his life out there in California right now working. So continue to make that money, Cody. But Alex, do you have anything else, brother?
Yeah, I wanted to make a quick poll. Maybe you could put this up on TikTok. I saw another what's it called? Another podcast asked it was the Cubs and Phillies,
Yeah.
who's more likely to make the NLDS. Uh, but I don't I would like to ask a similar question but different teams.
Yeah.
Is most likely to make the NLDS the San Diego Padres or the Chicago Cubs?
Oh, I would go with the Cubs all day. Just Kyle Tucker and the way PCA have started out. Willie Adames, don't get me wrong, he's a good player, but other than that, for the Giants, who is out there offensively for them, and Giants fans, don't
No,
come for
I'm
me.
talking about the Padres.
Oh, the Padres. Oh, the
Yeah,
Padres and the Cubs. I would go with the Padres, man. But it just depends. It just depends on seeding because
yeah,
certain wild card teams, you play a certain team like and it just affects you. It's just like now in NBA. I hate to keep going back and forth between sports. Is like some certain teams like, oh no, I want to get this seed so I can avoid playing this team until possibly the conference finals. And it all just
yeah. Because I seen it like the TikTok. They had the poll of
yeah.
like who.
Oh, unfortunately, hopefully, Alex. Okay, I think he's back. I guess a bunch of people are
Yeah,
on
I
the
let me.
Wi-Fi.
No, I'm actually I'm streaming the basketball game right now.
Yeah, no. And who's actually winning that right now between the Rockets and Warriors?
Rockets. I mean, Warriors are up by 8.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
good game though.
okay.
They cut up, but yeah, I'm interested if I'm just interested to see what the fans think about it. I know I don't want to take my biased take on it. I just want
Yeah.
to see
Well,
what would people say.
yeah, that's just really tough because they're both outplaying. I feel like what their expectations were because the Cubs were kind of a team who were up in the air because you get Tucker and what's going to happen with the rest of the roster, and then the Padres, after the bad loss that you have to the Dodgers, where do you go moving forward? And then they were talking about moving Dylan Cease as well. So it was just like kind of interesting. Both teams were like one's going up, and then almost like the Padres were kind of like you don't know if they're going up, down, or backwards.
And then I guess one more question
Yeah.
for the MLB fans. We could probably put this in another poll. Who has more expectations to make it to the NLDS? The Phillies or the Mets?
Oh, the Mets, but to me, I feel like it's the Phillies because to me because the way they were in a World Series a couple seasons ago, they continue to make moves. Trey Turner, you have Harper, Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. You have an all-star like lineup,
And
and it's like
their contracts are coming up, so
yeah,
you have to strike pretty quick.
yeah, it's either now or never with that team because they're continuing to get older by the day.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm curious what people would say if you put this in the poll.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'll get on it, man, because now I do have the keys to the castle for this part of the show now. So I appreciate y'all guys. Like, comment, follow. Follow me on TikTok. Follow us here on the ninth inning stretch. It is under both umbrellas of Puro Pinche Sports and the People's Debate. So whenever y'all want your baseball fix, come on, give us a follow, like, and we'll be talking all things baseball throughout the season. And if that's it, man, y'all have a great night, great day, and peace.